What if I told you a little jar of Vaseline could bring a dull kitchen knife back to razor sharp life? No fancy tools needed. Sounds unbelievable, right? But stick with me today. We're going to turn an old dull kitchen knife into a sharp, clean-cutting blade again, using just everyday items including Vaseline. No sharpening stones, no expensive grinding machines, just a clever method you can do right at home. If you grew up fixing things with what you had, you'll appreciate this trick. It's simple, effective, and surprisingly satisfying. And trust me, by the end of this video, your knife will glide through paper and fruit like it's brand new again. So here's where the magic starts. I actually found this broken ceramic mug in the trash, the kind most people would toss out without thinking. But that raw ceramic edge, it makes a great sharpening surface. Before we touch the knife, we're going to get this mug ready to work as our sharpening tool. Before we sharpen anything, we need a clean blade. I set the knife in a tray and sprinkle a little baking soda over the steel. Then I squeeze fresh lemon juice right on top. You'll see it fizz up. That reaction helps lift rust and grime like nothing else. Let it sit for about 15 minutes and let chemistry do the work. This step matters. You don't sharpen dirt or corrosion, you sharpen steel. And once we wipe this down, that blade already starts looking younger. By the way, where are you watching from? I always love seeing DIY folks from different corners of the world. Drop your city. Or just a flag in the comments. Alright, back to work. This mug has a broken handle spot. So before we sharpen anything, we need it solid. I mix a small amount of 2-part epoxy, then press it right into the broken area. A little goes a long way here. Once it sets, this cup becomes strong enough to use as our sharpening tool base, just like new again. Now that the rust-breaking paste has had time to work, let's clean this blade up. I take a small brush and scrub both sides of the knife. Nothing fancy, just steady strokes to loosen all that oxidation and grime. Then I rinse it well under water and wipe it dry with a cloth. Right away you can already see the steel looking a lot healthier. The edge isn't sharp yet, but we've brought this blade back to life, and now it's ready for some real sharpening. Now let's get our sharpening surface ready. I clamp the ceramic cup in a vise to keep it steady, then trim away the broken edge with a cutting wheel. Now that the epoxy has set, it's time to clean it up. I take a piece of fine grit sandpaper and gently smooth down the repaired area on the cup. You don't want any bumps or rough edges here. The goal is to make that surface nice, and even so, the cup glides cleanly when we sharpen. A few light passes is all it takes. Smooth, solid, and ready for the real work. Next, we need a solid base for sharpening. I grab a small block of wood. Nothing fancy, just a sturdy piece about the size of my hand. I drill 2 holes near the edges right across the top. These will hold our bolts and guide the angle for the knife. This block is going to help us keep a consistent sharpening angle, just like those expensive sharpening jigs, but homemade and practically free. Now that our wood block is ready, it's time to turn it into a sharpening jig. I add a little wood glue into each of those first 2 holes, then press in 2 threaded nuts. Just tap them snug with a hammer so they sit tight. Next, I stand the block upright and drill 2 vertical holes on the top surface, spaced evenly near the edges. These will hold the guide bolts that keep the knife at a perfect sharpening angle, steady, repeatable, and just like a commercial knife jig, but homemade. With our jig drilled and the nuts locked in place, now we add the guides. First, I drop a washer onto each of the top holes, then thread in 2 short screws, just a couple turns. These act as temporary placeholders to line everything up. Now comes the real structure. I take 2 longer bolts and thread them down into the nuts we set into the wood earlier. Tighten them until they stand firm and vertical. These bolts will hold the knife at a consistent angle while we sharpen. Think of them like rails. They keep your blade steady, so every stroke stays true and repeatable, just like those expensive sharpening rigs. Now that our sharpening frame is set, let's lay down the surface. I peel a strip of 3M adhesive and stick a piece of leather right on top of the wood block smooth side up. This will act as our finishing strop and help polish that edge later. Next, I lower the bolt rails onto the leather so they rest at about a 19-degree angle, perfect for a kitchen knife. With that set, I place the knife between the washers on the bolt's blade facing straight up. Tighten them just enough so the knife stands firm, but you can still adjust it if needed. And there we have it, a steady, precise clamping jig, ready to sharpen like a pro tool. To keep the cup steady while sharpening, I wrap 2 rubber bands around it, one near the top, one near the base. This gives us a good grip and keeps the cup from slipping as we roll it back and forth. Now for the magic Vaseline. I spread a thin layer on the ceramic ring at the bottom of the cup, and a little on the knife edge too. It works as a smooth lubricant while sharpening just like honing oil would. Then I gently roll the cup over the edge back and forth, keeping that same angle. Slow and steady, let the ceramic do the cutting. You'll hear it working. A light scraping sound means the edge is forming. Once one side is sharpened, we flip the knife and work the other edge the same way. Light pressure, steady angle. Slow, controlled passes. You don't need to rush it. Let the ceramic and Vaseline do their job. You'll notice the edge getting smoother, cleaner, and more refined with each stroke. When both sides feel even, we take the knife out of the jig and wipe it down with a clean cloth. Now comes the finishing touch that really brings the edge to life stropping. I rub a bit of polishing compound onto the leather, then slide the blade backward across its heel to tip nice and gentle. This removes any tiny burrs and brings out a razor-sharp, mirror-polished edge. A few passes on each side, and that humble kitchen knife is back in business, sharp as new. And there you have it, a dull, tired kitchen knife brought back to life using nothing more than an old ceramic cup, a little patience. And yes, plain old Vaseline. No expensive sharpening stones, no fancy gadgets, just smart, practical technique, and a bit of creativity. This is the kind of thing I love, turning everyday household items into tools that actually work. If you enjoy breathing new life into things instead of throwing them away, then you and I think alike. These small tricks don't just save us a few dollars, they keep the hands busy, the mind sharp, and that DIY spirit alive. Give this method a try on one of your old knives. Take your time, enjoy the process, and you'll be amazed at the edge you can achieve. Now, if you found this helpful, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Share this video with a friend who loves fixing things, and don't forget to subscribe for more clever home tricks and workshop ideas. Thanks for watching, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next project.